I am someone you'll never know, but that doesn't matter. What matters are my actions. I need to confess, to lay it all out, and face what I've done. Here's the full account of my crime, the story before, during, and after, and how I got caught. It all started when I was an Instagram model, building my following with glamorous photos and aspirational posts. The likes and comments were addictive, and my follower count grew rapidly. I felt like I was on the brink of something big. That's when I was contacted by a talent agency. They reached out through a direct message, praising my work and offering me a chance to take my career to the next level. The agency promised opportunities I'd only dreamed of: magazine covers, high profile photo shoots, and even the possibility of branching into acting. It sounded too good to be true, but I was young, ambitious, and eager to seize any opportunity. I met with the head of the agency, Richard, at their sleek downtown office. He was charismatic and persuasive, assuring me that I had the potential to become a star. Richard painted a picture of fame and fortune, and I was captivated. He introduced me to his team, and before I knew it, I was signing a contract that I barely read. The initial photo shoots were professional and exciting. I started getting more followers, more offers, and more attention. But as I became more entrenched in the world Richard had created, I began to notice the darker side of the industry. Richard's charm masked a predatory nature, and his true motivations were far more sinister. One day, Richard called me into his office. He began making inappropriate comments, touching me in ways that made me uncomfortable, and taking suggestive photos without my consent. I was terrified of losing the opportunity I had at the agency, so I just let it happen. It was a moment that changed everything, making me feel trapped and powerless. From that point on, things spiraled downward. Richard started pressuring me to do more, to push boundaries, always under the threat of revealing the compromising photos he had taken. He had dirt on me, pictures involving drugs, and the contract I signed was shady enough to ensure serious consequences if I ever tried to leave. He used these to manipulate me, to make me comply. I felt trapped, my dream turning into a nightmare. Richard's tactics were ruthless. He blackmailed models, bribed photographers, and coerced talent into compromising situations. I watched as others fell into the same trap, their lives spiraling out of control. As I continued to comply with Richard's demands, the pressure mounted. The parties were endless. The alcohol flowed freely, and drugs were everywhere: cocaine, pills, anything to keep us going and to numb the pain. Richard encouraged it, saying it was part of the lifestyle. The more I indulged, the more I felt myself slipping away. It became harder to distinguish between what I wanted and what I was doing just to survive. The pressure to engage in sexual activity was constant. It was another tool Richard used to control us, to keep us compliant. I was pushed into situations I never imagined I'd be in, all under the guise of advancing my career. The allure of fame had turned into a prison of exploitation and abuse. As I continued to comply with Richard's demands, the pressure mounted. I started making mistakes, missing shoots, and losing my edge. Richard noticed and began to tighten his grip, threatening me with everything he had on me. The final straw came when he forced me into a spread for a well-known nude magazine. I was hesitant, but Richard assured me it would be tasteful and artistic. He said it was a stepping stone to bigger things. I agreed, wanting to please him and further my career. The shoot was more intense than I expected. The photographer was demanding, and the poses were far from tasteful. I felt uncomfortable, but Richard's words echoed in my mind. "This is what it takes to make it," he had said. I pushed through, convincing myself it was worth it. The magazine spread was a hit, but it came at a cost. I couldn't live with the guilt. I started making more mistakes, becoming increasingly careless. Richard noticed, and his threats grew more severe. I was desperate, feeling like there was no way out. In the end, I couldn't take it anymore. I left the agency, disappearing from the industry. The illegal activities at the agency never got caught, and it still operates under the same facade of glamour and success. But I couldn't be a part of it any longer. I was fortunate to find a lawyer who specialized in contract law. He reviewed the shady contract I had signed and found several loopholes. He advised me to document everything I could about Richard's misconduct and the coercive environment at the agency. With this evidence, my lawyer was able to negotiate my release from the contract without facing the severe consequences Richard had threatened. The process was long and stressful, but it worked. I managed to escape the binding terms and the threats that loomed over me. Now, I live with my family, away from the toxic environment of the industry. I've stopped using social media and have distanced myself from that world completely. The guilt of my past actions still weighs heavily on me, but I am trying to make amends in any way I can. I feel sorry for the Instagram models who think they are going to make it, not realizing the dark side that often accompanies the pursuit of fame. I hope my story serves as a warning. The path to fame, no matter how glamorous it appears, can lead to a life of exploitation and despair.